With Feathered Friend and Captain Parkhill and Imperial Black come by, giving just a little bit of trouble at the moment.
He won't make it round. 15. He's sweaty up.
And John Frankham has positioned himself about 12 from the inside. And that's it. They're under orders and they're away. And Imperial Black is one of the first to show from Roman Bistro. Then on the outside is Musso. Just in behind Musso is Grease Paint, Imperial Black. And as they race down towards Beaches, Rupertino joins Imperial Black. On the outside, Roman Bistro. Then comes Musso, then Grease Paint. And as they run down across the Melling Road towards John Hanmer's sector, it's Rupertino, Imperial Black, and Musso on the outside. Over to you, John.
One of the leaders too, and so is Musso. And a bad mistake there by Never Tamper and by Duty. And the faller of the first, Talon, Bashful Lad, Solihull Sport. And as they jump the second, the Hello Dandy has gone. And as they go to the third, it's Duty on the outside from Glenn Fox, Musso, then Classified, then Roman Bistro, West Tip. And a faller there was Crozer, and Northern Bay has fallen. And Shady Deal has fallen, and as they jump the fourth over to Julian Wilson.
No, Dandy in fact unseated his rider, but Duty leads coming down towards the one before Beaches. Glenn Fox there, towards the inside is Roman Bistro, towards the centre is Classified with Grease Paint in a perfect position. Musso also in a good position, all the leaders over that one. In fact, practically everything seems to be over it as the leaders run down to Beaches. Cumby, in fact, the faller at the back. And the leader down to Beaches is Duty. Duty coming to Beaches and over it. Duty calls a cab. Glenn Fox over in second. Then the Roman Bistro, and all the leaders are over. Power makes a bad mistake. There's a faller at the back. Tackroy is down. Hill of Slane is down. But the rest of them over and over the following fence, the seventh fence, with Duty the leader from Glenn Fox in second, then Roman Bistro. Behind that is Corbier in fourth, then Musso and Imperial Black and Grease Paint, then Captain Parkhurst and Royal Appointment and Rupertino as they jump the canal turn. Duty over from Glenn Fox and Roman Bistro, then Corbier. Musso made a mistake there. Grease Paint jumps it well on the outside of Imperial Black. Just behind those, behind the leaders is Rupertino, then Musso and Royal Appointment and Captain Parkhill as they jump that one. Just behind those is Last Suspect and Scott Lane. But up front, it's still Duty from Glenn Fox, Corbier, Roman Bistro, Imperial Black as we rejoin John Hanmer.
And still the leader is Duty from Glenn Fox, then Roman Bistro, Imperial Black, Corbier going easily on the inside, then comes Rupertino, Grease Paint going smoothly, then Captain Parkhill, and going to the 12th fence, it's Duty in the lead from Glenn Fox, Imperial Black, then Roman Bistro and Corbier and Rupertino. Just behind them comes Grease Paint, then Captain Parkhill, Scott Lane who made a mistake, Musso who made a mistake, then Last Suspect, West Tip, 3/4 of the way down the field, but where he wants to be by the look of it as they go across the Melling Road with Duty in the lead from Glenn Fox, Imperial Black, Rupertino, Corbier, then Raymond Bistro, Grease Paint, then Scott Lane, Last Suspect, and West Tip and Musso and Royal Appointment, and over to Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, it's Duty and Tony Mullins having his first ride in the National. Well clear at the moment as he comes down towards the next. Duty clear of Imperial Black and Rupertino. Then Corbier on the inside, Glenn Fox on the outer, Roman Bistro is next, and behind them come Grease Paint and then Scott Lane. And behind Scott Lane is Royal Appointment as they come to jump this one. Duty lands in the lead from Imperial Black and Rupertino and Glenn Fox. Another plain one before the chair. Duty in the lead. Rupertino, Imperial Black, Glenn Fox and Corbier. Then comes Grease Paint, and just in behind them, West Tip. And now they're making towards the chair with Duty clear of Rupertino, Corbier, Imperial Black, West Tip. Behind West Tip is Glenn Fox close. Over the chair, Duty lands in the lead. And a very bad mistake there by Captain Parkhill. He's almost unseated his rider. He looks as though he's getting back, though, as Doody comes to the water in the lead by 4 lengths. Doody jumps it from Rupertino. West Tip jumps it third, Corbière 4. Then comes Last Suspect and Imperial Black and Glen Fox, and then Grease Paint on the inside of Royal Appointment. Just in behind them come Broomy Bank, who's making ground. Behind Broomy Bank is Scott Lane. They're running down now towards the Melling Road on the final circuit. Doody in the lead from Rupertino. West Tip on the outside, Corbière on the inner. Then comes Grease Paint, Imperial Black and Last Suspect. And with that order, over to John Hanmer.
And the next is the 17th, and Doody out in the centre of the course is in the lead, pressed by West Tip. Last Suspect going right up to them as well, but Doody now at the 17th. And he only just got over it. Last Suspect, West Tip, Rupertino and Corbière all close up, so is Grease Paint. And behind them come Glen Fox, who's lost ground, then Royal Appointment. Doody at the 18th, and he's having another long look at it, but he's just over it. But he's losing the lead to West Tip, Corbière and Rupertino. Then comes Last Suspect, and this is the 19th, the open ditch. Corbière on the inside with West Tip, and West Tip jumped it much the better. Raymond Bistro's refused. Doody, the leaders, down, and as they go to the 20th, it's West Tip, Rupertino, Corbière, Last Suspect and Grease Paint, and Musso's pulled up, Glen Fox has pulled up and come by and over to Julian Wilson.
And a mistake there by Grease Paint, but up front it's Rupertino, West Tip on the inside, Corbière going really well towards the outside. Last Suspect, Mr. Snugfit's getting closer now as they come to the one before Beaches. Rupertino over from on the inside, Corbière towards the outside is West Tip, then Grease Paint. Grease Paint's rider looks over his shoulder to see Last Suspect behind him. Royal Appointment fell at that one as they come down to Beaches for the second time. And the field led by West Tip on the outside of Rupertino and Corbière. Corbière and West Tip together, and West Tip makes a mistake and is down. West Tip is down. That leads Corbière in front. Drumlogan's been pulled up at the back, but Corbière leads now from Rupertino, and Last Suspect in third. Grease Paint is fourth. As they jump the 23rd, immigrates a faller at Beaches, and over the 23rd is Rupertino from Corbière. Last Suspect in third, then Grease Paint fourth. Scott Lane's fifth. Behind that is Mr. Snugfit. Behind Mr. Snugfit is Classified and Glen Fox as they jump the canal turn, and over it Rupertino, Corbière, Last Suspect, Grease Paint. Behind Grease Paint is Scott Lane and Mr. Snugfit. Behind that is Classified. Behind Classified is Glen Fox and Imperial Black, and then a long gap back to Captain Parkhill and Fettered Friend. But up front, Tavatelli has refused at the back. Forloon is a faller at the back, but up front it's Corbière now from Last Suspect, Rupertino, Grease Paint as we rejoin John Hanmer.
And Corbière in the lead from Rupertino, Last Suspect, Grease Paint, Mr. Snugfit, Scott Lane, and then comes Classified, and this is the last ditch, 4 from home, and Corbière over in the lead. A mistake by Rupertino, but Last Suspect's in second place. Then Rupertino being passed by Grease Paint, then comes Mr. Snugfit, Classified, and then comes Scott Lane. This is the third last, and Corbière over in the lead from Last Suspect, who made a mistake, then Grease Paint, and then comes Mr. Snugfit improving, then Rupertino and Classified, and Scott Lane and Glen Fox, and a long way back is Imperial Black, and then Captain Parkhill. But going across the Melling Road with 2 to jump, it's Corbière from Grease Paint, then Mr. Snugfit, Last Suspect, Rupertino, Classified, and Scott Lane, and over to Peter O'Sullivan.
And just 2 fences left to jump in the 85 National, and it's Corbière who's clear at the moment of Grease Paint. Then comes Mr. Snugfit, then Rupertino, and then Classified, who's trying to close on this quartet as they race down towards the second last fence now. Peter Scudamore on Corbière, being pressed by Mr. Snugfit. Under pressure is Grease Paint, then comes Last Suspect, and then Classified still making progress. At the second last fence now, Corbière with his white face challenged by Mr. Snugfit, who takes it up. And it's Mr. Snugfit and Phil Tuck who've taken it up now from Corbière. Grease Paint is next, followed by Last Suspect, and then comes Classified at the last fence in the National. Mr. Snugfit for the North jumps it in the lead from Corbière, jumps it second, Grease Paint third, Last Suspect 4, Classified 5, racing towards the elbow, and Mr. Snugfit is clear of Corbière, Grease Paint, Last Suspect and Classified. Inside the final 1 furlong and 50 yards now as they reach the elbow. Mr. Snugfit being challenged again by Corbière. It's Mr. Snugfit from Corbière, and Last Suspect putting in a tremendous run towards the stand side. It's Mr. Snugfit from Last Suspect. Last Suspect is beginning to get up on the near side, and Last Suspect has won it. Last Suspect's the winner. Mr. Snugfit second, Corbière third, fourth was Reese Paint, and fifth was Classified. Behind them came Imperial Black and Rupertino. And so the result of the 1985 Seagram Grand National. First, number 11, Last Suspect, owned by Anne Duchess of Westminster, trained by Captain Tim Forster and ridden by Hugh Davies. Second was number 36, Mr. Snugfit, owned by Mr. A. Greenwood, trained by Mick Easterby and ridden by Phil Tuck. And third was number 1, Corbière, owned by Mr. B.R.H. Burrough, trained by Mrs. Jenny Pitman and ridden by Peter Scudamore, and the gallant Grease Paint, fourth. So another triumph in the National for Tim Forster, who won it with well-to-do first with his own horse and then with Ben Nevis. And for Hugh Davies, a first triumph at what is his fourth attempt. A 28-year-old fine horseman jockey from Wales who came in the closing stages, the closing heartbreaking stages they must have been for Phil Tuck, to wear down Mr. Snugfit and snatch victory so well inside the final furlong. These famous colours carried the 3 successive Gold Cup victories by the great, unforgettable Arkle, whom the Duchess never permitted to run in the National, but whose 11-year-old, by above suspicion, Majesty the Queen's horse above suspicion, out of Last Link, has done it for her with the most marvellous sprint in the closing stages. So Hugh Davies receiving the most tremendous reception from the crowds here. Bitter cry of disappointment when West Tip, who seemed to be going so brilliantly, Richard Dunwoody's first ride, when he fell at the second Beeches, and Last Suspect, the 50-to-1 winner. And the sash of honour around this 11-year-old who's never achieved any performance previously to suggest that he could rise so magnificently to this daunting occasion. Only his fourth outing of the season, and he was pulled up on his last appearance. The final distances, 1.5 lengths and 3 lengths. And here's Hugh weighing in, receiving the congratulations, sporting congratulations there of Peter Scudamore. Must have felt he had it in the bag when he jumped the third last 4 lengths clear on Corbière. And Hugh congratulated there by Neil Doughty, who of course would have been aboard Hello Dandy. And everybody wanting to congratulate Hugh at the end of what is one of the finest athletic achievements for both horse and rider in the sporting world. The crowd milling around the unsettling enclosure. Most of them losers, but unaffected by pecuniary loss, regarding this as a tremendous event to see, as of course it is, the unrivaled world's greatest steeplechase. Last suspect, whose grandsire Fortina was a Gold Cup winner.
First, number 11, Last Suspect, 50 to 1. Second, number 36, Mr. Snugfit, 12 to 1. Third, number 1, Corbière, 9 to 1. And fourth, number 4, Grease Paint, 13 to 2, joint favourite.
Well, right from the very start, you can see that there were a whole mob of them on the inside deciding to take the passage down where the brave men go. But in fact, a lot of the horses spread out. Imperial Black was one of the leaders as they go across. This isn't actually the Melling Road, that's just a prelude to it. But any moment now you can see where the cinders start to fly, and this is it. And they've come quite a bit over to the outside. Imperial Black is probably just in front here. Never Tamper in the green colours, just about heading them now. But they're going quite fast as normal as they go to the first. And a big jump there. Never Tamper actually nearly gets rid of his rider, but Talon goes. Bashful Lad. Hello Dandy's just gone. You can see nearer to the outside. But now seeing it from the low-angle camera, from the travelling camera, you'll see again. But just watch Never Tamper. He almost goes and gets back into the action. They're in the green colours. Look, nods. Bashful Lad, Talon. Hello Dandy's on the far side. He's pretty much inskewered from you at the moment. So as they come from the other side of the course, you will this time see Hello Dandy. But look at the green colours now. Oh, nearly goes. Northern Bay goes on the far side, Talon nearest to us. But watch any minute now and you'll see Graham Bradley come flying through the picture. Poor Graham, there he goes. That's Hello Dandy, the winner 1 year ago. And I'm afraid it's goodbye Graham Bradley. What bad luck. And off they go. But that isn't too hard a tally for the first fence. Nearest to us, you can see Musso and Simon Sherwood, Grease Paint them with the noseband. Then there's Classified, he's probably in front at the moment. Northern Bay, Doody out on the outside there as they go to the second. Now the only trouble here is from Northern Bay. He's almost obscured from you, but it's Classified. Remember, the horse that is only a 2.5 miler now, watching from the helicopter. Classified almost in front. This is the second fence again. They're again jumping well over it. It's the speed. There's Northern Bay. You can see him from this angle. I'm afraid that's goodbye to him. So again, from the inside, you can see Musso nearest to us with the white face. Then Grease Paint, second the last 2 years. Classified and young John White in the red colours going really great bombs. Glenn Fox is in the yellow, one from the outside, and Doody and young Tony Mullins going for a big one. And Tony Mullins takes his arm off and waves to his auntie, but that won't do him much good. Now, as you can see, Tony, who was joint champion jockey in Ireland last year, riding quite short, but just behind him is Glenn Fox from Stan Miller's yard, and what a terrific race this one ran. He actually goes on to complete. Just coming into the picture is Hill of Slane, but Tony Mullins really going for medals on Doody, who is supposed not to be a very good jumper, but he's doing well. Paul Nichols getting into the action on the inside there on Roman Bistro, and here's Corbière brushing the paint off the rails. That's where Jenny Pitman has told Peter Scudamore to go, and that's exactly what he's doing. But Doody back to the front and absolutely swinging along. This seems to be a good gallop. In fact, Doody really setting a hairy pace, I'd say. Dennis Gray in second place there, having a replacement ride for Mark Perrott, who was concussed only yesterday. But they're bang up the inside. There aren't too many now. Remember, a lot of them lined up there, but now that it's coming to the big fences, they've disappeared. Now, from our helicopter, you can see that Doody is going to the wide outside, Glenn Fox. Then we've got Roman Bistro. And Beecher's Brook is looming up. That hedge tells you that it's going to be the big drop. Just watch as Tony Mullins, nearest to us, goes for a big one, and a terrific wave again there to any relations that are watching. Corbière on the far side from us now. Grease Paint nods. I'm afraid that was almost gone for him. Hill of Slane, I'm afraid, has now exited. There was a lot of money on that one. And from a totally different angle, you can see the leader and Tony Mullins again waving. There's Glenn Fox and Dennis Gray, the amateur from New Zealand. On the inside, Roman Bistro. But just watch for Grease Paint now. Here he is, nodding. His nose nearly touches the ground. Good recovery by Tommy Carmody. But there is Hill of Slane while the winner goes through the picture. And a great recovery from our Clouds jockey there. That's John Quealy, the amateur from Ireland. But here's Tackroy, and his rider simply steps off, but you couldn't really get back from a mistake like that. Alf Duffield's £600,000 punt going out of the window. So on we go to what is the Foynaven fence. Doody in front, but being pressed now. Glenn Fox and Corbiere has gone up considerably on the inside, with a whole host of horses following. The winner you can see there in yellow on the wide outside, fairly near really for this point of the race. Remember, he's a moody horse, but coming on now to this right-angled turn at the Canal Turn. Tony Mullins really going for it, and Doody another terrific leap, but right in the corner is Corbiere. Peter Scudamore takes the birch off with his teeth, I should think. A really good jump there, and you can see just how much they have to turn. It is exactly right angles. Now here is another crack at the Canal Turn. Doody. In fact, we're on to Valentine's Brook now, but Doody is pricked. Tony Mullins got his ears pricked as well, going for great leaps on this horse. Dennis Gray on Glenn Fox is having a terrific ride. Remember, this horse trotted up at Newbury first time, and there with the white face and the breast girth is Corbiere. Peter Scudamore having a terrific ride. He's now on the far right. But going on to the 10th fence, and the only thing that happens here is that Leanie Jewel goes out of the race. I'm not sure that we see him, but another fine leap from Doody. Michael Moore, his owner, must have been having kittens watching this one go round. There's Grease Paint, 3 from the inside, jumping well, and there David Pitcher's horse makes a mistake, and that is the end of him. 49-year-old David Pitcher, but he's okay and lives to fight another day. He fell in the Fox Hunters yesterday, but I'm sure that he'll be back. There's Imperial Black just coming into the picture. But Doody, who has been going for really long ones, Tony Mullins again asking, look, he's really saying, come on, Doody, let's go for a long one. And he gets it. There's Glenn Fox back in second place. The leader has gone on. Imperial Black running a blinder is up in third. His owner actually watched the race from here, and he was in a terrible state. But the winner is on the left of the picture now in the yellow colours. You can just see him. Grease Paint has made a forward move, and there in the yellow-green sleeves is Captain Parkhill from Brian McLean's stable. But let's see where the leader is. A long way clear. And that is a terrific leap. You can see that there's a ditch on the land inside, and that often catches horses out if they pop a little short one in. But Glenn Fox is some way behind, probably 12 lengths behind Doody, as they go across the Anchor Bridge Road for the first time. Now they come onto the racecourse proper, and there is a very long way to go. But they know 3 fences ahead lies the chair. But Doody really going well within himself. Tony Mullins perched up there. He can certainly see where he's going. And at this point, he really wouldn't be able to hear the other horses. Now, well, coming into the 13th, Doody, they're closing on him a bit. Imperial Black is the pursuer now, as Glenn Fox just weakens. Corbiere very close in contention now, and the white face and white socks of Grease Paint, who's running an absolute blinder. We've seen very little of Drumlagen, but we do see him later on. That is 13, and just remember the horse that almost wins this race, Mr. Snugfit. We haven't even seen him yet. Phil Tuck really giving him a quiet ride. But here is the 14th, the one before Beecher's, before the chair, and this is the last next time round, but there's an awful lot to unfold before they get there. Back to the 14th, just watch as here comes Doody. He jumps slightly left-handed here. He's probably just starting to feel the strain of this tremendous gallop. Just slightly left-handed, gets himself out of trouble. And Rupertino in the yellow colours coming into the action. Then on the inside, Corbiere. Imperial Black with that noseband, Tom Webster's horse running well, and now for the first time Scott Lane going through the picture. Broomy Bank with Jim Wilson, Musso starting to weaken, and here's Drumlagen in the white colours, the first time we've seen him. So on to the chair. This is the big one. Tony Mullins has just lost his cap, but that's the least of his worries. Now just watch as he eyes up a stride. He goes for a big one. He's a brave rider, is Tony Mullins. He's committed now, goes for it. 1, 2, 3, and up, and only just gets there. But watch now for the horse jumping now. It's Scott Lane. He gets halfway up, and what a great recovery there by Craig Smith. Also from Captain Parkhill is coming along, and there is a loose horse in the ditch, and that follower on there actually jumped the loose horse. But coming back to the chair from the landing side, watch Tony Mullins. He's committed. He really goes for one. But here, if you watch most carefully, about the 6th horse, Scott Lane, really ploughs to the middle of it, and Craig Smith does tremendously well to stay in the plate. He's just rising behind Corbière. There he goes, halfway up, and directly behind him is, now just watch here, is Chris Grant. He's actually off Captain Parkhill there, but self-preservation takes over, and there he is back in the plate, and believe it or not, he goes on to finish. What a marvellous recovery there. Onto the water, no trouble here, and a great leap again from the leader. There is the winner on the outside, Last Suspect. He's crept nicely into the race, Hugh Davies, keeping out of trouble and really doing well to avoid all those horses that were having hiccups at the chair. But what a marvellous feeling when the runners and riders get to here, the survivors that is, but they've got to do it all over again. The start they're missing now for the first time. This is where they went across the Melling Road, and Doody is being taken to the wide outside by Tony Mullins. He's probably decided that the horse is just starting to tire a little bit, and he wants to go for the easiest passage. But I can assure you, in the National, there's no easy passage. Last Suspect, funnily enough, is in 2nd place here, though he does drop out a little bit as the race unfolds. But just watch as Tony goes for one there and gets it again. Corbière almost in 2nd place on the far side. West Tip just creeping into the action. And this is the 17th. Doody makes a mistake, and have a look on the outside. He's on the far outside. Tony Mullins does really well to pick him up. Just watch as Doody, his nose actually touches the floor there. But then one from the outside is the winner, Last Suspect, Hugh Davies. Very, very cool, keeping out of trouble there. So as they run down to the 18th, where in fact there were no hiccups whatsoever, Doody, I'm afraid his days are numbered. He may get over this one all right, but for Tony Mullins and Doody, the end is nigh. Now just look as West Tip comes into the action. One off the rails is West Tip, the horse that has been backed so heavily, young Richard Dunwoody having his first ride in the race. And here at the 18th, Doody nearest to us, a big bold leap on the inside, Corbière. West Tip almost in front, Rupertino close. So on we go down to this big ditch. It's the 19th, and I'm afraid this is the end for Doody. And our cloud refuses here, on a promise pulls up. Nearest to us is Corbière, West Tip, and here goes Doody. Good night, Tony Mullins. Glad to see that he gets up all right. So on the inside, Jim Wilson recovers from another mistake there on Broomy Bank, and Grease Paint close to them. Just watch here, the horse nearest to us, Doody at the big ditch, gets in close, leaves his hind legs behind, and you cannot do that sort of thing at Aintree and get away with it. But happily, as I say, horse and rider are fine. Captain Parkhill making another mistake there. Chris Grant deserves a medal for getting this fella around today. But now the new leader is West Tip from Rupertino. Young Robert Strong having tremendous first ride, as is Richard Dunwoody. So these two boys in front now having their first attempts at Aintree. Corbière is 3rd. The winner is in yellow in 4th place, then Grease Paint, and Broomy Bank right on the inner. But now just look, Robert Strong and Rupertino riding in the colours of Lord Kenyon, actually in front at this moment. But how Corbière has jumped this course so well on 3 occasions, has never put a foot wrong. Just behind the leading 3, Grease Paint, Tommy Carmody, looking for some daylight, because he knows very shortly the big drop's going to come. That's the path that warns you. And look where Peter Scudamore's going. He's going so near to the inside rail. That's where the drop is biggest. And West Tip, I'm afraid, over jumps. and there's no way you get back from that sort of mistake. He actually brings a loose horse down, which is quite unusual, I must say. Huell Davies has got out of trouble by going wide. Now let's see it again. Here's West Tip and Richard Dunwoody. He gets back, but the horse's knees buckle underneath him, and the loose horse, look there, is brought down by West Tip as he falls, and the winner gets by on a clear passage on the outside. There's Imperial Black, and Jim Wilson performing wonders there. He actually put his hand on a loose horse to help himself back in the plate. So on we go now, going on to the smallest fence on the course. Peter Scudamore again on the inside, Robert Strong bang up there, and now that West Tip has gone, Huell Davies is on the outside in third place. Grease Paint is fourth at this time, and Grease Paint plenty near enough if he's good enough. The Canal Turn first time, well, they jumped it terrifically, and now that there are less horses around them, they've got plenty of room. Huell Davies must be delighted, because this is a moody old character, jumping nicely again across. Grease Paint puts a short one in there, but Tommy Carmody turns him better than most. Corbiere close to the rails, Robert Strong in front, riding on Edward Hollister Owen trained horse Rupertino. What a super ride he's had. But Grease Paint's there, and here is Mr. Snugfit creeping in for the first time. Scott Lane also just in the picture. Corbiere probably fractionally in front now, with a lot of distance between him and Last Suspect, who gets very close to this one, as does Grease Paint. But there's Snugfit. Phil Tuck is giving this one a beautiful ride. He's been picking them off very, very quietly indeed, and behind him is Scott Lane. What a brilliant shot there as Peter Scudamore really looks between Corbiere's ears. He's seeing all he wants to see here. He's got the whole fence to look at. 1, 2, 3, Corbiere pricks his ears and up. How this horse has jumped Daintree in 3 consecutive years, simply amazing. Now, Peter Scudamore's father, who won the National on Oxo and rode in 16 consecutive races, must be looking from the stands and thinking, well, my son is going to do it. Corbiere changes legs here, his first sign of tiredness, or perhaps it's not tiredness, it may be just brains. But Snugfit coming in, Classified is still there, Scott Lane is still there, but up at the front, you can see Corbiere probably 5 lengths clear. The distress signals going out there from Tommy Carmody on Grease Paint, and Snugfit is absolutely cantering here. But here is the winner on the outside, and you wouldn't think in the yellow colours that he would win. And Duchess of Westminster can see Huell Davies working hard, and normally when the jockey works hard on this horse, he says, I've had enough. But Corbiere, in his 3rd National in 3 years, still some way clear. But Phil Tuck on Mick Easterby's Mr. Snugfit, absolutely cruising. If you could have a bet on him now as he moves into 2nd place, you'd even take 10 to 1 on. But I don't know. From behind, the 3rd horse is Grease Paint, 4th is Huell Davies on Last Suspect, and that old tail starts to swish. You just would not believe that he could win from here. But here now, as Snugfit just hits the front, and a bold leap, you would think that that clinches the National. Classified back in 5th place there. I simply don't know what odds the bookies would have been offering at this stage of the race. It's been a terrifically judged race for Phil Tuck, and my heart goes out to him, but there is no way at this point you would think that he could be beaten. Corbiere, in fact, starts to come back at the leader now. Grease Paint in 3rd. There the winner swishing his tail, just exiting from the picture, but he's in 4th place. And I would imagine that Connections and Duchess of Westminster, Huell Davies and Tim Forster would have been delighted at this stage. But now Huell is getting a great run out of him. In fact, he's spurred on probably by that loose horse. But just look as they come to the elbow. Still, Snugfit is 4-5 lengths clear, but Huell Davies and Last Suspect are really motoring now. This good horse from Ireland, who's been a little bit moody, is certainly putting his best foot forward. But just watch as Huell Davies gets his head down. He's not looking for the jam stick, but he knows where it is. The tail is swishing still, the whips are flying, but Huell